Hello again. It's me. I'm back. I was gone for a while. And by we I mean only me. I was out and about on the ton a lot, I guess. I was visiting a friend and then I had a job for like 2 weeks. So I've been a little bit MIA for pretty much the entire month of March. But we're back. It's March 23rd today. I don't know what day it is when this will be posted. But today is March 23rd. On today's episode of Rantings and Ravings, you guys will follow me as I make something. This is not a tutorial. I had an idea, an image in my head of something I wanted to make, and I made it. I'm going to bring you guys along for the ride. You're going to see with my very poor quality camera quality, sorry about that. You'll see the process, what's going on up here, what's going on in here, and what comes out at the end. But before we do that, let us do my favorite segment of every video as in the 2 videos I've made, and that is the things I've whittled this week. Only by this week I mean over the past month and a half, because it's been that long. Here's a inserted segment from a video I recorded as these 2 things I gave away, so I don't have them with me anymore. Howdy folks. On this week's episode of What I've Been Whittling This Week, we have 2 new characters. Alright, the first is this fox. This is what he looks like up close. He's got his little tail, his little feet. I don't know if you can see his eyes. I don't know if the light's too crazy, but one of them is like slanted downward and the other one is kind of raised, so it looks like he's perpetually raising his eyebrow. I can't raise my eyebrows, so I can't show you with my own face, but there he is. Love him. And then the second one is this little gnome. I wish I could like hold him in a way that, there we go, with his little hat and his big old nose. And this has been what I have whittled this week. And we're back to me. Thank you, past self. This week we have a very interesting dichotomy of things that I've made. We have my pride and joy, the love of my life, my magnum opus, one might even say, and then we have the other thing that I made. And we'll start with the other thing just because this is a tree. Would you believe it? Would you believe it if I presented this before you and said this is a tree? I was just trying to make a tree. You'd think, looking at this, I'd never seen a tree in my life. I've seen many trees in my life, believe it or not. But this was what happened when I tried to make a tree. I was so annoyed, so frustrated by this stupid thing, and everyone keeps telling me, no, it looks like a tree. It looks like a tree. It could be a tree. Anyway, I don't know if I will be revisiting trees. Maybe. We'll see. And now, let me show you my pride and joy. This is a monk. This is my little monk guy. Look at him. He's got his little rope around his little waist. His I can't say that. I was going to say his slutty little waist, but and his hood. And I don't know if you can see his little cross that he has. Let me see. Can you see it in the light? Anyway, he's got a cross right there. I love him. He's not exactly how I intended him to look, but I love him, okay? Look at him. He's so precious, so good, so holy, pious. Okay, that's the end of that segment. Now, we're going to get to some other things, which is this dress that I want to make. Well, if we're being honest, I've already made it, and this is all being recorded after the fact, so I want to be honest. I want to be transparent with you guys. I don't want to lie. I've already made it. It's sitting right here, in fact. Anyway, let's take a journey together, you and I, on this journey to the past. So this is my idea for a dress. I really like this idea of a low-backed, gathered, easy to put on dress. And I really like this image. I just don't think I will have the sleeves. The way that I want to plan it will look a little bit different, but I really like that low back and that ruching. So here you can see it a little bit better. I guess my plan for a more halter top obviously the dress that I would like to have, and by that I mean the dress that I've made, will be much longer and it will be more gathered in the back. But these were the two kind of ideas that I had and wanted to combine. So these are the supplies that I used. Obviously, from the right hand side, you have my sewing machine, my fabric scissors with the green ribbon so they didn't get lost, my very important coffee, the big square of fabric. That's the fabric that I'm using. It's just a red linen fabric that I got from a thrift store. On top of that is my journal where I do all my planning and sketching and writing down of things. I have a measuring tape, which is really important, pins, which are really important, which of course are stuck into a rolled up t-shirt, and then two items I didn't use, which were a straight edge and a fabric pen, but those could be helpful. I just prefer to use pins than pens. It just is better for me. And here is my first sketch. Obviously, it doesn't look like a whole lot, but this is kind of the idea of what we're making. This is the basic outline. And the three main lengths that I wanted to gather with my measuring tape were the length that I wanted the fabric to go across my chest, and then the length of the dip in the back, and then from that dip down to the floor. A lot of these measurements changed as time went on, and I realized that things were going poorly. This is a better designed or drawn design. The lighting, of course, is horrible, so you can't really see what it says, but it's all the basic same information. I have my measurements off to the right, the entire width and height of the piece of fabric that I had, which was 79 inches by 56 inches, and then the measurements that I wanted at that time, again, those changed. And then I needed to add space for the channels, because we will be threading a cord through these channels at the top of, like, along the back of the dress and through the halter, and that's what will keep it together, and we'll gather it up in the back in that way that we wanted from that first picture. So I drew this dashed line to indicate where the channels would be, and then I added about an inch, I think it ended up being 1.5 inches or even 2 inches, to my desired sizes to get that measurement. Here we have a very awful picture of the entirety of my fabric. So because it was much longer or wider than I wanted it to be, I decided to just hack off about 20 inches off of the total width of it. So that way I could work with a little bit less fabric and then have leftover fabric to work on another project. And so it ended up being about 50 inches wide, was approximately how long it ended up being. Because this was a tablecloth, it already had a seam, and I just try to kind of keep those hems in place and cut along the raw edges. This is me cutting off those extra 20 inches. I don't know how people make these videos. This is me measuring the width that I originally wanted it to be. As you can see, there was a little bit left over for that channel. This is another picture of just what I was planning on doing, and I guess some of my notes, I suppose. So I cut along this line. This is what's going to make that curve in the back, and I then folded it over in half so that I could repeat the same cut on the other side. And this is sort of what we ended up with, which looks an awful lot like the drawing we made. Huzzah! At the top and on the sides, you can see there are 2 pins, and that kind of indicates where I want the thing to be and then where the channel will start. So I pinned this item to my body and decided I liked where it lay in the front, but not in the back. As you can see by my discontent shake of the head, my whole booty's out. Because the dress hangs too low, we are just going to pull up the top of the dress by eliminating some of the fabric up there. So I'm just folding it down to the desired length and then cutting off that excess at the top. So this was not a part I took a video of because I was lost in the sauce. I was in a flow state. I was just getting things done. But how I created the channels was all along those raw edges that we created. I folded over a little tiny piece to make like a seam on all edges, starting with the top and then working my way down both sides. I will show that in just a little bit. But then I folded it over again about another 1/2 inch, and that made that opening. And I left on the edges between, like the corners between The top and then the sides, I left a little gap so that I could pull the cording all the way through and it wouldn't get caught within the fabric. So that is what you see here, which is just the top, and you have two lines, one where I first hemmed it essentially, and then the second where I folded it over. And then this side has already been folded once to make that hem, and then I'll go on to fold it over again to make the channel. So my sister and I, we went to the store to get cord for this thing that I decided I wanted to make. And instead of getting cord, we got 3 skeins of yarn so that we could make our own cord. Because why would we do anything simple? Why would we want to do anything and it be easy? Why buy cord when you can make it, you know? Our skeins of yarn, I keep saying our as if I wasn't the one doing it. I mean, it was mine. I mean, my sister helped. She gave me ideas, obviously, because she's great and amazing and I love my sister and she does that. But I was the one doing it. She helped me come up with some color schemes. Of course, we did not bring a swatch, so we just had to guess, but we decided that brown goes with everything and blue goes with everything, so it would work out. Then she and I did some workshopping as to what the cord should actually look like, and what we ended up deciding was that I was going to do 2 strands with 3 strands in each strand, so 6 total like lines of yarn, and then I would do a rope braid, so just twist and then twist and twist and twist. It took a lot of brain power, and there were definitely times in the cording that I messed it up, you can tell, but it's inside the dress now, so you can't tell at all. And that is what this all is how that was made, and the fact that me and my sister can never do anything simple. It must be more complicated. Here are my strands that I'm using, and it's 1,000,000 feet long, and then here it is partially braided, and this is the act of me rope braiding it. Video recorded, of course, by my lovely sister, who is amazing. This took a while. It probably took about an hour to get this bit done. It was a really long time. And then after it was finished, we put it in a pot of hot water to just kind of even everything out, and then dried it in the dryer. So here I am after I've threaded it. I obviously didn't show you how to thread it because why would I do that? That would make things too easy. And again, it's still way too low. My booty is still way too out. So we have to gather it a lot more. And this is after I've gathered it a lot more. You can tell from the top that it's a lot tighter in the gathers. It still shows a lot of the side, which is an issue. But as you can see in the back, it looks a lot better. You have my approval. It's gathered. It looks great. I'm having a great time. I think it looks so awesome. And then this is the final act. I'm just sewing up that back seam just a little bit. I don't go all the way down though. Okay, before we continue talking about the dress I'm making, we need to talk about this dress I'm wearing because I really like it. I like how it feels, right? It's nice. But how do we feel about this here? Should I like tack it in a little? The problem with that is then there's all this like gunk in the back that I have to deal with. I don't know if you can see all that I'd also have to deal with, and it also just pulls just a little bit right here, so I don't know if it's worth it to, like, do I just get rid of it? But it's like fun, it's cute. Is it giving? Just want to hear your thoughts, let me know. All right, so here is the finished product. As you can see, the cord, we made so much. Like, that's all the extra, plus wherever the rest of, like, this, there's just so much cord. But I don't want to cut it. I don't want it to lose its integrity. And it's kind of fun. So it ended up being like exactly where I wanted it in the back. This is the main problem, obviously, right here. And I knew that was going to be a problem. And I just didn't even try to fix it, is the thing. I really didn't. So I think the solution is to wear something under it, which is what I'm doing now. I could also like attach another cord here so that it like ties like this, and then you also get a little bit more definition, I guess, here. But I guess that kind of defeats the purpose of it being just something you can throw on. It's really light, really airy. I'm having a great time. I think it turned out really well. Let me see if I can't get you a better angle of the whole thing. Obviously, there are some kinks to work out, but I think the dress was successful in the way that I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be something that I could just pull on, easy, wear around the house kind of vibe. I not have much intention of ever wearing it outdoors, but I think that it turned out really well. I really liked it. For a project I was kind of winging by the seat of my pants, it turned out to be what I wanted it to be. So I'm really happy about that. I think it could be really cute if I had like a cutesy little bralette or like cropped tank or something underneath it. Could then be maybe more outdoor thing. Anyway, I think we were successful today. Because I couldn't do this without you guys. Anyway, it was pretty easy considering I was making everything up as I went along. This is definitely a pattern, I think. A pattern, I dare say that it's a pattern as if I planned anything. But, if you were interested in having a dress like this, I think it's pretty easy to make. I just used a tablecloth that I bought from the thrift store for 89 cents. And I have a good amount left over, so I can still, make something else out of it. I'm sure there was something else I wanted to say about that, but I don't know what it was. So there's that. I need to get better lighting. These are just notes for me. I really need to get better lighting in here. I like my little setup. It's cozy. My room's a mess, but, hey, whose room isn't a mess? If your room isn't a mess, I don't trust you. I need to get better lighting. Probably should get a better camera at some point since I'm just using my phone. Even maybe a better microphone, but this is kind of a vibe, isn't it? Anyway, that's that on that, I suppose. But yeah, that has been today's episode of Rantings and Ravings. I hope that it will tide you over until the next one. Who knows when that will be. I appreciate you all being here. Let me know what you think about the dress I'm currently wearing. Let me know what you think about the dress that I've made. And I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day. I hope all is well with you. Thank you for being here. Genuinely, it means a lot. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. I hope that you guys are all out there living your best lives, doing what you can to make the world a better and kinder place. That had nothing to do with what this video is about, but I just thought I'd throw that out there. Yeah. Thanks for being here. I hope I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.